From the time Kevin O'Leary demanded an entrepreneur be kicked off the set, to the time Mark Cuban called someone a gold digger on the show, here are some of the times the sharks got really angry on Shark Tank. When you think angry shark, I'm sure Mr. Wonderful's the first guy to pop into your mind. Fair enough, he did have one of the most notable outbursts the show has ever seen. For a minute there, Manesh Sethi probably thought he'd have to walk out without an investment. But here's the kicker. He did get an investment, yet still somehow walked out empty-handed. Okay, so the entrepreneurs have the discretion to either accept or reject an offer. But the only time they say no is because the sharks are eating up their margins. Well, almost always, that is. In Sethi's case, he said no to Kevin O'Leary's offer just because it was coming from him. The two got off on the wrong foot right from the start, when O'Leary laughed at the idea of a shockable wristband to break a bad habit. Manesh took offense and said, "You can laugh, but it works." Then, when O'Leary extended an olive branch in the form of a decent investment, Sethi said he'd take an offer from anyone except Mr. Wonderful. Yikes. Yeah, the sharks didn't take too kindly to that, and practically ordered Sethi off the show, yelling curse words at him as he left. Another case where O'Leary lost his cool was when the founder of Cybands wanted to write a check to herself. Look, I get it. A lot of money goes into creating the next big thing. Is Cybanding the next big thing? It could have been. I mean, if Rami Taormina had taken O'Leary's investment instead of picking a fight with him. So, Cybands are stylish acupuncture wristbands that target a specific point in your wrist to keep you from feeling nauseous. Is it a scam? A fad? A placebo? Obviously, the sharks had questions, and Taormina had answers for all of them. I need you to understand how products like hers rarely, if ever, do well on the show. But here she was on the investor's side. The problem started with Robert Hadjervac. He asked her about her evaluation. Taormina was asking for $250,000 in exchange for 10% of her company. Wow, that's steep, all right. But Rami had done the math. The money would cover shipping, packaging, and labor. Her labor. That's right. The struggling entrepreneur was apparently done with struggling and wanted the investment from the sharks to basically cover back pay for all the work she'd put into the company. O'Leary might have hated her business model, but he liked the business itself. He swooped in, offering her the exact amount to cover everything except for the money that would go to herself, essentially for starting a business. And when Rami said no, Mr. Wonderful let her have it. He told her like it was. She was looking for a payday from the sharks and was being too arrogant. In the end, Cybands failed to secure a deal from any investors on the show. Let's take a break from O'Leary's outbursts and talk about a rather unexpected outburst coming from a shark you'd least expect it from. I'm talking about the time Lori Greiner let the founder of EZ-CPAC have it. Lori's the yin to O'Leary's yang. She balances out the most ferocious sharks with her cheerful attitude throughout the show. But I mean, she had to break at some point too, right? Her breaking point came when Saurabh Malapati was being extremely problematic. Okay, so you'd think that when you step into the tank, you'd want to be on the investor's good side, right? I mean, you're asking them for their money. I don't think ignoring the only shark who actually wants to invest is a good business model. But I guess that's the game plan Malapati had in mind. Okay, so EZ-CPAC was supposed to be a more natural substitute for antibiotics. It's not supposed to replace life-saving drugs, but minimize the risk of antibiotic resistance. When I tell you that Lori was gleaming during Malapati's performance, it's like she knew this was something she had to invest in. But she wasn't prepared for Malapati's attitude. So each time Lori tried to get a word in, talk about the product, or her passion for natural supplements, Malapati would just look at the other sharks. The male sharks, that is. Lori let it slide once, then again, but 3 was the limit for her, and she let the founder of EZ-CPAC have it. She called him out for being a chauvinist and said she was ready to invest, but would do anything besides that now. I guess Malapati realized the hole he dug for himself and tried to crawl out of it by calling Lori a positive person. But nope, Lori had made the deal already. $0 towards easy CPAC. The only other time Lori's been part of a squabble inside the tank was when Robert, Mark, and Kevin walked off to get away from her and Damon. Boy, oh boy, this one's going down in history as one of the biggest fights on Shark Tank among the investors themselves. So, Christopher Gray was selling his pitch, as they all do on the show. And 3 of the 5 sharks were unimpressed. The word they used was charity. Ouch. Gray's app, Scholly, was a paid application that helped prospective students find scholarships they didn't know existed. Lori and Damon John listened to Greg's pitch for another minute or so before deciding to go halfway on an investment. Gray hopped out of the tank, smiling and gleaming, unaware of what he'd just done. The other 3 sharks who weren't a part of the deal, Mark, Kevin, and Robert, started to attack Damon and Lori for undermining the show's credibility and making a charity deal. Things got so heated inside the tank that the 3 guys decided to just walk away and blow off some steam. Lori later confirmed in an Instagram post that all of the investors on the show are actually friends in real life. So, I guess their walking off the show might have helped save their friendship. It was 3 against 2 here, but it was 4 against 1 when Lulu Bang made her pitch. Let me go ahead and say this. Everyone loved the Beard Sisters and what they were selling. Kelly and Joray came into the tank with the right attitude and a great product. Their pitch left the sharks in stitches, and their samples had the investors dying for more. Then how come Lulu Bang's on the list for when the sharks got really angry? Well, the sisters were selling their signature sauces, and while everyone loved the taste, they just thought that the market was pretty saturated for their product. The sisters were in talks with some major distributors, but O'Leary gave them the facts without sugarcoating them. It was damn near impossible for them to make a buck from Lulu Bang. But that's just the thing. Mr. Wonderful was the only shark who told them like it was. When the Beard Sisters walked out of the tank without a deal, Kevin turned around to call out the other guys. He was mad they tried to downplay the facts, even though that's what they were being paid to do on the show. Mark Cuban got ticked off the most. He called his co-star an idiot before exiting stage right. I guess that's the only thing you can do when you're brawling with Mr. Wonderful. But for the last entry on the list, all 5 sharks banded together to call this investor a gold digger. I mean, Mark Cuban might have been the one to use the actual words, but I bet the other investors were thinking it too. So, Yuna Kim walked into the tank with one of the craziest evaluations the show had ever seen. She valued her medication app, Simple Habit, at millions of dollars. She came in looking for a $600,000 investment against a 5% stake in her company. It sounds crazy when I say it out loud, doesn't it? And you'll get why I said looking like that in just a minute. Not only did Kim have a crazy valuation, she also had a crazy amount of money in the bank. So, what did she need the sharks for? Nothing, I guess. And they understood that almost immediately. I honestly think they baited her with the deal they almost handed her. 2 sharks and 15% of the company, which she clearly turned down. Once Mark's suspicions were confirmed that Kim came in with an unreasonable valuation and a great presentation, just to get free airtime for her product, he swooped in for the kill. He didn't hold back either. The Dallas Mavericks owner called the creator of Simple Habit a gold digger and accused her of using a platform that should have gone towards someone who actually needed their help to make a free commercial for her product. Obviously, Kim denied it and started crying, but Mark was unimpressed. So, from the time Mark Cuban called someone a gold digger on the show to the time Kevin O'Leary demanded an entrepreneur be kicked off the set, these were some of the times the sharks got really angry on Shark Tank.